Hello, welcome to Eye on Africa here on France 24 with me, Jean-Emile Jamin, taking you through all the latest news from across the continent. Let's start with these headlines. 570 Mpox deaths have been confirmed in the eastern DRC as the government scrambles to secure vaccines for more than 16,000 others infected with the disease. Then in Sudan, at least 30 people have been killed with 20 villages destroyed after torrential rain caused a dam to burst north of the de facto capital, Port Sudan. And South Africa's lead corruption unit, the Hawks, say that they're handling an identity theft case involving the mother of an ex-Miss South Africa contestant who is now competing in the Miss Universe Nigeria pageant after online backlash questioned her background. Thanks for joining us on the show. In the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, 3.4% of the 16,700 recorded Mpox cases have died. The government has announced a response and hopes to receive the first doses of vaccines this week. But in the meantime, medical teams are tending to more and more infected people, particularly, as mentioned, in the east of the country, the epicentre of the outbreak. This report by Emmett Livingston, Aurélie Bazara Kibangula, and Glody Marubasi.
In this tent at Kavumu Hospital in the province of South Kivu in eastern Congo, mothers gather, exhausted and worried. Nzigire watches over her 4 children, all of whom have been infected by Mpox.
I'm taking care of my children infected with this disease. They have skin lesions. They were admitted here almost dead, and now I'm watching over them. I haven't seen any real changes in their health yet.
South Kivu is the epicenter of the Mpox epidemic in Congo, with over 5,000 cases detected in the province since January.
The situation is really serious. We are really overwhelmed because we have a small capacity and we are very busy.
In the neighboring province of North Kivu, Mpox cases are also multiplying. Dr. Bazubi is carrying out a series of hospital consultations.
She shows signs of Mpox, like blistering skin rashes.
Patients are put into isolation and then treated. An average of 10 new cases arrive every day, mainly children from overcrowded displacement camps.
It's quite a worrying situation. We've seen that the primary means of transmission is direct contact. So when you have a large number of people in a household, in a limited space, you run the risk of seeing the disease spread rapidly.
To combat the epidemic, awareness campaigns have been launched in several displacement camps around the city of Goma.
We can all get sick. If I'm infected, I can infect you, and you can infect others.
Health workers go over and over protective measures to take against infection, such as washing hands regularly and avoiding physical contact. But the measures are difficult to apply in these conditions. Here, the only hope is the arrival of Mpox vaccines.
Well, the eastern DRC is not only the scene of the most concentrated cases of Mpox, it continues to be the most volatile security-wise in the ongoing conflict between the M23 rebels and government forces. There were hopes that a recent ceasefire would lead to a de-escalation of the 3-year conflict, but just weeks later, on Sunday, renewed fighting broke out around the densely populated town of Kirumba in North Kivu province. Emmett Livingston in Kinshasa has more.
Congo's army said in a statement on Monday that M23 rebels and Rwanda had violated a ceasefire deal that has been in place in eastern DR Congo for weeks. The ceasefire came into effect on August 4th after talks brokered by Angola between DR Congo and Rwanda took place, aiming to de-escalate the M23 conflict. Hopes for the deal were initially high. Congo's foreign minister herself praised the ceasefire as a positive step forward. But experts also expressed skepticism, pointing out that previous ceasefires in the 3-year M23 conflict have fallen apart after only several weeks. On Sunday, the AFC, which is the M23's political arm, accused Congo of flying planes over M23-controlled territory, which it said violated the ceasefire. On Monday, the Congolese army responded by calling the accusation a lie that was designed to distract from M23 attacks, which began on Sunday in Lubero territory in North Kivu. Whether fighting now escalates is unclear, but the hard-won ceasefire appears to be under threat.
Over the weekend, Burkina Faso was subject to one of the deadliest assaults this year. Having analysed videos, regional specialists suggest that at least 100 people were killed by jihadis in the central Barsa-Logo commune, about 80 kilometers from the capital Ouagadougou. The attack took place on Saturday as villagers were helping security forces dig up trenches to protect outposts there. Fighters affiliated with the Al-Qaeda-linked JNIM group proceeded to invade the area, opening fire. Burkina Faso security minister says soldiers and civilians were among the dead and that government had responded with the ground and air support. But the violence highlights once again the country's ongoing struggle against jihadi groups in areas outside of government control, despite the efforts of the ruling military junta led by Captain Ibrahim Traore. Over to Sudan now, and the eastern Red Sea state is reeling following the collapse of the Arbat Dam on Saturday night. Authorities are reporting 4 people killed and dozens missing. It's now risen to 30 people killed, in fact, with local media saying some 60 have actually also been killed in the flood. So the numbers not consistent, and the United Nations saying that they could be rising. They will be confirmed more certainly in the days to come. But the dam itself is located some 40 kilometers north of Port Sudan and crumbling after water and silt built up after days of unusual rains. Sudan's health ministry says now that the number of people who have died from torrential rain and flooding in the war-torn country this year is 132. Clemence Voller has the latest on this particular dam burst.
A community in shock. The residents of the Sudanese Red Sea state have begun to bury their dead after the Arbat Dam collapsed Saturday night. At around 3 in the morning, deadly flood water surprised people in their beds, washing away their homes.
The water swept away around 40 people. We recovered some bodies and there were people that survived. I called some people from the area where I'm from, the Tabub area, and they told me that all the houses and everything was swept away.
Search and rescue personnel have been deployed to help those stranded, with General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan visiting the affected area.
We received a message saying there were people who were stuck in 7 cars and that they tried to get them out but couldn't. There were 7 lorries carrying families, elderly people and children. We then received another call and were told that the dam had collapsed.
The Arbat Dam is the main water source for Port Sudan, located 40 kilometers away. The city is the base for the government and aid agencies and home to hundreds of thousands of people displaced by the war with the Rapid Support Forces. The Sudanese dams help the country manage the seasonal heavy rainfall. However, the war has wrecked civilian infrastructure.
So just to confirm, as of Monday evening, the United Nations says 30 people have been confirmed dead. They've cited local sources and they do expect that number to be a lot higher. We will keep you up to date with that information. We move to Uganda now, where 36 members of the Forum for Democratic Change, the FDC, an opposition party, have been detained for 1 month now. The trial, which was supposed to start this Monday, has been postponed for the second time. The activists are accused by the authorities of preparing terrorist acts, but the party and their lawyers insist on their innocence. More details from Clément Di Roma in the region.
Just over a month ago, 36 activists of the FDC, one of Uganda's largest opposition parties, were arrested during a trip to Kenya and sent back to their country. According to the Ugandan prosecution, these members of the Forum for Democratic Change had traveled to the neighboring country to train for terrorist acts in preparation for subversive actions. At this stage, the authorities have not provided further details regarding the charges. According to the FDC party, however, its members had traveled to Kenya to attend several leadership seminars and training sessions. They have been held for over a month now in a prison north of Kampala. Their lawyer calls the charges ridiculous and says they could face life sentences. Several NGOs and Ugandan key opposition figures have called for their release already. The trial, which was set to begin this Monday, has been postponed for the second time. The court claims part of the investigation is still ongoing.
We end with a story of glamour, beauty, controversy, and accusations of corruption. She was in the running to be Miss South Africa with a real shot at the crown, but following a widely publicized row over her nationality, Chidima Adetshina withdrew from the competition. Outcry on social media had focused on the fact that Chidima's father was a Nigerian national, despite Chidima herself meeting the criteria through her South African citizenship by birth, a rule in place since 1995. But as the anger grew to levels accused of being xenophobic, South Africa's government got involved, with the Home Affairs Office launching an investigation. There, officials found prima facie indications that Chidima's mother, who has Mozambican roots, may have stolen the identity of a South African woman. On Sunday, it was revealed that the country's serious corruption unit, the Hawks, is handling that case. But all the while, 23-year-old Chidima was invited to participate in the Miss Universe Nigeria beauty pageant, to which she said yes, representing the state of Taraba. Here's Chidima speaking of the chaos in the build-up to the pageant and the reaction of other contestants.
It was not an easy experience. It was really tough. There would be times where I wouldn't even feel like going outside, and I would really cry myself to sleep because I don't think that anybody deserves the kind of backlash that I have received. And I know that I've grown through everything. I've bounced back from all these challenges and obstacles, and it has just really proved the strength and the courage and the resilience that I have.
It's all about sisterhood. Whatever we do, wherever we find ourselves, what matters is not the race, is not the tribe, the language, or your skin color. What matters is that you bleed the same blood, and we are all humans, regardless of our backgrounds.
We shouldn't fight amongst ourselves as being one person from a different country. There's enough racism around the world. There's xenophobia in South Africa. We need to unite Africans, especially Black Africans. And there's no better way than to say we can help a delegate who is in distress come to our pageants in Nigeria.
And Miss Universe Nigeria will be taking place on August 31st at the Eco Convention Centre in Victoria Island, Lagos. Well, that's all the news for now on Eye on Africa, but please stay tuned for more on France 24.